Thank you. I now recognize for 5 minutes Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Salerno, there's been a lot of focus today on the borrower, the student, but it occurs to me that erasing student loan debt also rewards bad activities, bad precedents from the universities. I mean, just in the last 20 years, the average tuition at a private university has grown from $19,000 to $44,000 in just 20 years. So can you unpack that a little bit for us? The bad rewarding bad actions by universities and what this will mean to will the average cost of education continue to rise, or will erasing student loan debt do anything at all to lower the cost of a college education?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I think the best answer to that question is that we don't know, but in all likelihood, there's no reason to believe the costs will not continue to rise without guardrails or checks on accountability. If we don't provide institutions with, again, a balanced system of carrots and sticks, if left to their own devices, is there any reason to believe that loan forgiveness will not just be fully absorbed on the promise that just more loans will be made available in the future? So again, I think unless you create a system of checks and balances that creates accountability for these institutions, you will be left with a system where loan forgiveness will just continue to make those costs grow, and at the same time, the borrower's balances as well.
Dr. Looney or Dr. Salerno, can you talk about what are the biggest drivers of the increased cost of a college education? What are colleges doing that is growing their bureaucracy so much that it costs so much more to get a college degree?
Well, I mean, I'll give you some facts. I mean, so a lot of the increase in the cost of college is actually graduate school, particularly when it comes to borrowing. So a lot of the increase in student debt over time is owed by students who have gone to graduate school and particularly medical school. That's because graduate students have long educational careers, and because they can borrow up to the cost of attendance, unlike undergraduate students who face limits and can only borrow for a few years. And so, a lot of the fundamental increases in debt, in particular, are associated with those kinds of degrees. An extra 70% of debt is going to be owed by students who have gone to graduate school.
Would you agree, though, it's bureaucratic? I mean, the budgets of these colleges are being grown through more administration, more bureaucracy, and less direct in the classroom teaching of students?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a college professor, so I don't want to talk my book too much. But I mean, I think that there are a lot of costs.
It's got to be, though. It's common sense, right? It's obvious. That's obvious. I mean, Dr. Salerno?
Yeah, I would support the idea that a lot of the investment in education that drives up these costs in recent years has been in wraparound services. We are helping provide a safer learning environment. We're providing more ancillary services. We provide more counselors. We provide better services to help students enjoy the larger learning experience. We also constantly have to upgrade our facilities if we're an institution, because we're competing for a limited pool of high-quality students and high-quality faculty members. And so if we don't improve our residence halls and we don't improve our libraries and our IT infrastructure, we risk falling behind. So there's a constant pressure on universities to continue to spend as much as possible on a lot of things that may not directly relate to learning, but probably shape the learning experience in general.
Yeah, one study from 2021 says that the average university has 45 staff members who are tasked with promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, and some schools have a lot more than that. Have either one of you looked at how much that would cost to administering a university?
I have not, no.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Hopefully a study comes out soon that would talk about the overall cost of implementing left-wing political agendas that some of these programs are. 45 staff members seems like that would be significant. Mr. Goldwine, can you talk about what it would do to add just another $1 trillion to the national debt? How that would impact students whose student loans are being canceled today, but what that $1 trillion more in national debt will do to Americans' livelihood in the future?
Thank you for that question. It's important to put this in context. Our debt is just 5 years from reaching World War II levels as a share of the economy. So we're already at record debt, almost, and projected to rise another 20 trillion over the next decade. That means slower wage growth, higher interest rates, more risks of inflation, less ability to respond to the next crisis or recession, and ultimately it's unsustainable, which means in the future, spending cuts and tax increases are coming.